University. We're thrilled to have you here today. We're located at the Providence, Rhode Island campus, the College of Culinary Arts. Just a little background about Johnson & Wales. First of all, my name's Jim Richard. I'm the Director of Culinary Admissions here at the university, and we'll be hosted today by Chef Lewis, and I will share a little bit more about him in a few minutes. Johnson & Wales was founded in Providence, Rhode Island back in 1914 as a nonprofit, fully accredited institution. Since then, we've grown to a multi-campus system where we have regional campuses in Charlotte, North Carolina, North Miami, Florida, and Denver, Colorado. We also have several colleges and schools that make up the university. We have a College of Business, Hospitality College, School of Technology, and a School of Arts and Sciences. We have over 44 different majors to offer at the university, but today we're going to highlight some of our students in the College of Culinary Arts. Today you're about to see a great demo, not only from Chef Lewis, but from many of our students from across the United States and some internationally. So at this time, I'd like to turn our College Week Live demo over to Chef Lewis, who will talk to you a little bit more about the demo that he will be performing. Thank you.
All right, I'm switched over. Can you hear me? All right. Well, I want to say welcome. I'm Chef Brandon Lewis, as was mentioned. I teach a lot of the culinary labs here at Johnson & Wales, especially at the freshman level and then again at the junior and senior level. Today, though, we're doing a bit of a club event, and so the Cooking Asia Club is here to present a nice Thai demo. So let's start with our president. Would you like to say hi? You're going to get to meet, this is Joy, and you're going to get to meet Joy and the other students here as after I finish the demo, they're going to go ahead and they're going to cook the demo, and you're going to have a chance to talk to them, talk to me. We're going to reach out. Questions are allowed throughout the demo. If you guys have questions, please ask me what's going on. And those of you back at home or around America, please type in your questions. We'd love to answer them. If the questions are related to admissions, we're going to talk to Jim. If they're related to culinary specifics, I can talk. And then, of course, the students here are experiencing it fresh, live, every day. We have students who have been here one trimester, and we have students who have been here 4 years about to graduate. So we have a nice, diverse mix of students who can talk to you about the experience at Johnson & Wales. All right? So what I'd like to do is I'd like to get started. Because we're going to do a Thai demo, we need to talk a little bit about Thai cuisine. When we're talking about Thai cuisine, we're talking about sort of a balance. You're looking at strong aromatic components that are prepared in a light, really easy style. So if you think about everything that you've ever had that's Thai, you're balancing things like sourness, bitterness, sweetness, pungency, saltiness, and of course, sweetness. Did I say sweetness? Twice? All right, that's because it's twice as sweet. When you think about Thai food, think about all the dishes that you've had. Just name an example for me. What's a Thai dish that you know? Pad Thai. Well, Pad Thai is a good one. Pad Thai is a good one because in the US we often serve it with peanut sauce, but in Thailand a lot of times it's with a sweet and sour tamarind sauce, like what we're going to make today. And so when you're thinking about it, what are those flavors? Tamarind is what? Sour, and then we add palm sugar to it and we make it sweet. And so we have a balance there. And so you said spring rolls too. So spring rolls, inside you have strong aromatic components like basil, and then you have some shrimp and some sometimes pork, sometimes cellophane noodles, and then you dip that in what kind of sauce? A sweet spicy sauce, right? Sometimes a sweet sour sauce. But the idea is you're always having that balance. And that's what Thai food's really, what it epitomizes. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our demo started. Any questions before we begin? You guys ready? Okay. Whenever you get ready to cook a recipe, what do you need to do first? Look at the recipe and familiarize yourself with the ingredients. So first of all, we're going to be starting with a lot of Thai staple ingredients. We're going to start with sliced garlic, pungency, right? Thai chilies, what are we talking about here? Spiciness. Now, here's an interesting question for you. Where do Thai chilies come from? Yes. They come from Central America. Thai chilies aren't even from Thailand originally. Where did chili peppers come from? The New World. They come from the Americas. So imagine Southeast Asian cuisine without chili peppers. That's crazy, right? Imagine Italian food without tomatoes. All of these things came from us to them, and a lot of their things came to us. Before Southeast Asia had spicy chilies, they were using things like peppercorns and other aromatic spices to perpetuate these spicy flavors in their food. Moving on, we have shallots, pungency, right? We also have ginger. Now, if you eat raw ginger, what is it? Spicy, right? And hugely aromatic. Very nice. We also have some lemongrass. Lemongrass smells like? Lemons, right? So if we're talking lemons, what are those flavors? A little bit of sourness, right? Who's ever had kaffir lime leaves before? Right? Super sour, right? Really nice fresh flavor too. One thing that balances spiciness a lot in Southeast Asia, think about Indian cuisine. What goes really well with something spicy? Something cool, like a yogurt drizzle, right? Or something like that. A lot of times you have chutneys. So that's the same thing that these are going to do. They're going to give us a nice cooling sensation as well. And then, of course, for saltiness, we're going to have some salted cashews with this dish as well. Further, when we go into our sauce ingredients, we're going to wind up using more shallot and garlic. We're going to be using some tamarind, and I brought some tamarind pods for you guys to check out. Now these are basically a pod, almost like you think of fava beans or green beans. And so inside, and I'll pass these around to you guys so you can pass them around, you can break them open too. Now these ones have been allowed to sweeten, and so that means they've ripened to the point where they're more sweet than sour. You can eat them, just break them out of the shell and eat the pulp inside. See that? Let me pass that off to you. Very good. So when you get them in the US, a lot of times they're not fresh, sometimes they're in blocks, and then they're a little bit sour. And so what do we need to do again to balance that sourness? Sweetness. So a lot of times they're paired with palm sugar, which is also in our dish. Now palm sugar is really interesting because palm sugar literally comes from palms. We cut the palms open and we draw out the sap, much like you would do to make maple syrup or something like that. Then we boil it down until it becomes granular, and you can, well, before it becomes granular, you pour it into these little molds and you cool it, and then you can cut it with your chef knife, and now you have this granular substance. And so we'll have palm sugar in our sauce as well. It's also got a sort of molassy thing going on. So back home, if you want to do this, you can also use brown sugar instead and do a lot of substitutions there. The next important ingredient is what? Fish sauce. So all of Southeast Asia is in love with fish sauce, right? This comes from Roman times. We used to ferment fish on our rooftops and allow all the salted juice to go down the gutters and collect it in barrels. But we don't do that anymore. We have factories doing it and some, health code things to worry about. But now fish sauce is throughout Southeast Asia. It's really big in Cambodia, Thailand, Vietnam, and the Philippines, right? Right? Very good. The fish sauce, at first, if it's really fresh, it's going to have a really strong fishy aroma. And that may be a turnoff. But once you cook with it, once it hits the heat, how's it smell? Somewhat floral and nice, right? And it adds a real umami flavor to that dish. And then I have some water. If we go a little too thick on our sauce reduction, we'll just temper it out with a little water and thin it out a bit, okay? And then I want to bring us to our main component. This is our fish. We have a really nice Acadian redfish caught in New England waters, so we try to stay local when we can here. And this fish is, he's ready to get fried, isn't he? Yeah. Okay. So let's hit the wok station. I'm going to fire this thing up here. And it's important to talk wok stations here, because I don't think you have this at home. This wok station here, if you think about your stoves at home, if you have a gas stove, your gas stove puts out about 8,000, maybe if you have a power burner, 16,000 BTUs of gas firepower. Our stoves here at Johnson & Wales, they put out 40,000 BTUs, okay? But guess what? This wok station, it puts out 200,000 BTUs. It's kind of like the Batmobile. And I just wish I could ride this thing down the street. But instead I get to ride it in the kitchen and we get to cook with it. So this gets so hot and so crazy strong that we actually have, I don't know if you can tell in the camera, but we have a water effect behind the station. This water sprays down across the deck and it keeps the welds from breaking in the station where we hold the whole wok together. So we have some firepower here. We work with the best equipment, don't we guys? That's it. So we're going to start by ladling in some oil. Now what's interesting about this recipe is we're going to have all these aromatics that we started talking about. We're going to perfume the oil with these aromatics. So the oil is going to have this nice aroma to it and flavor, and then we're going to fry the fish in that flavored oil. So we're actually building this stronger oil, this fortified oil, with flavor before we actually use it for the main component. Now, how quickly does garlic burn in a wok? Very quickly, right? Very good. So you have about 18 seconds to get that garlic fried and out of the wok before it burns. And so garlic goes in, you're going to almost immediately smell this, and then we're going to go right over to our tray here. Thank you, good catch. And so I'm just going to scoop this garlic out, giving it a couple more seconds. Smells nice, right?
Yeah.
So you have to be pretty quick when you're firing the garlic in the wok. So you don't want to get any bitterness out of there, right? Very good. Okay, when you're firing a wok station, it's very important to continue to moderate that heat. A lot of times, because your hands are so busy cooking what's in the wok, you have a hard time controlling the heat. So they're actually at the knee level, so you can punch them with your knee and turn them off or turn them back on. Now, what's our next ingredient? Thai chilies, right? So when I add these, you got to watch your face, because once this capsaicin oil hits this frying oil, it's going to mist up, and it can actually, like, you know, make you sneeze and get your eyes a little watery. So you got to be pretty quick with it. So in and out pretty quickly. We're going to season when the cashews come out. We're going to salt those, and that'll be all the salt we need, because we're going to smother all this in the sauce. It's going to be pretty nice. All right, the next item going in is our shallots. And so I'm firing this thing back up. It's kind of like driving a car. You think about it. When you drive a car, you don't just like hit the gas until you run into a wall. You need to accelerate onto the highway, slow down to get off, and eventually in a parking lot, you got to stop the thing and put it in park, right? And so a wok station's the same way. So you're going to constantly be monitoring how fast you're going, how hot you're cooking. So right now I'm just getting these shallots nice and crispy. It's going to take a little longer than the garlic because there's more water content in them. And while I'm frying this, if we have any questions coming in, we'd be happy to answer them. Sure. Well, I could answer that, or anyone could. Would you like me to? So, at Johnson & Wales specifically, can you hear me okay? Oh, I'm sorry, I got to repeat the question. So the question was, at Johnson & Wales, are you just going to become a chef, or are there other career avenues that you could follow? And so the answer is pretty simple. Yes, there's many career opportunities. Here at the school, you have an opportunity. Go ahead, while I answer this, you could scoop those out for me. Thank you, Khadija. So at the school, you have a lot of opportunities to go down different tracks. And so you have the opportunity to maybe focus in journalism. You could learn food writing. You could go into to become a chef with a nutrition background. So you could become an RD here with a culinary background, which is really strong. Our nutrition program is one of the best in the country, maybe the best. For culinary specifically, we're rocking it. We also have executive chef paths. We have paths for food service management positions throughout the industry. And am I missing anything else?
Food and beverage.
Food and beverage, entrepreneurship. See, there's a whole list, and that's just the culinary side of things. Our business school is tremendous, and there's a lot of opportunities for students to see how they could be a restaurant owner or some sort of establishment owner. Good to go?
Yep.
Thank you. In goes the ginger. Gonna have a lot of splatter because what do we have in ginger?
Water.
A lot of moisture, right? Water. Very good. So the ginger's in the wok right now. We're crisping it up. Yes?
You were talking about fortified, but what does fortified mean?
So fortifying, in a general sense, we're talking about making it stronger, right? So in classes, a lot of times we teach you guys about fortified butter, right? And that's where you melt and clarify butter, and then you add some oil to it so you have a higher smoke point before things burn. In this case, I'm talking about fortifying it with flavor. So we have a lot of oil-soluble, fat-soluble flavors in these aromatics, and we're dissolving them into the oil. So when we fry the fish, it's going to be coated in the same flavor of garlic, of ginger, of Thai chilies, and the lime leaves and everything else. It sounds great. All right, so we have this ginger coming out now. Just going to turn my heat down a little. Every time I turn the heat down a little, I think you can hear me a little better. Much better. It gets loud in the kitchens. All right, our next ingredient is our lemongrass. Now sometimes students ask me about this dish and they say, Chef, how can you make this a little healthier? because you know this is a fried item. There's a lot of fried components here, and that's typical of Thai cuisine. Chinese influence coming down throughout the peninsula. They brought the wok, they brought stir frying, they brought frying in the wok, steaming in the wok, and a lot of things. But steaming is where I could say you could be healthier here. You could steam the entire fish with all these aromatics on top, drizzle on fish sauce or soy sauce, and then you can actually take that, serve it, and the water below you could reduce down into a sauce itself and then drizzle it over the fish. It's pretty tasty just by itself. So there's a lot of different ways to manipulate these dishes and still work with the same flavor profiles. If you're talking about curriculum stuff here too, we have a sophomore lab called International Cuisine. And students, who's in International right now or just finished? Just finished it? About to go on Thanksgiving break, right? So in International Cuisine, students learn about all different types of cooking around the world, and they make it practical and realistic. So what you learn is you learn these flavor profiles and these different ingredients and how to put them together. So one day if you're in a restaurant and you're writing a menu, you know how to use those things to create. If you're making a Thai peanut salad, you're not going to put a roux in it or something like that, right? You're going to put things that are Thai components, right? This one's a little loud. There's a lot of water in the kaffir lime leaf, so there's going to be a little popping once they get going. And so you just kind of cover them with the basket and they'll be okay.
Yes, and your Culinary club, maybe George can answer this. Do you guys do a lot of demonstrations regarding like Asian foods and inspiration?
So the question was, in the club in Cooking Asia, do we do a lot of Asian demonstrations and things related to Asian cooking? And so I'd love for Joy to answer that. So Joy, if you want to come over on my right, I'll hand you the remote to answer that question while I finish these lime leaves off.
Thank you for the question, Khadija. I am the president of the Cooking Asia Club, and based on our questions, if we do a lot of cooking demos, every trimester we do at least 2 demos. We invite chefs from the school or the chefs from the industry to come in and do a cooking demo for us. And then it's also some of a hands-on experience for some of the students, so they could come in and help the chef out, do that. And the following week, we also do a lab days, which consists of having the students come in the kitchen, like particularly this one. We come in and the students get to cook whatever was demoed previously. So it's pretty much like our organization is a hands-on experience for all students. You don't have to be Asian, you could be anyone, and we are a very diverse organization.
You just gotta love Asian food, right?
Yes, definitely. You have to have the passion for it as well. So.
The answer is, aren't you coming here to learn how to cook? So, oh, I'm sorry, the question was, do you have to know how to cook to come to Johnson Wales? And the answer I gave back was, that's what you're coming here for. We teach you to cook. That's what that's why you're coming here to learn. It's all about focusing your energy in your studies and learning to cook. And one thing that Joy was sort of alluding to is that clubs like the Cooking Asia Club and many other clubs, we have the ACF Club, the American Culinary Federation Club, we have the Special Functions Club about events, we have the Culinary Latina Club. We have a lot of different clubs where after you're done with your PM classes, the latest classes at 8 o'clock at night, we have the moonlighting at Johnson & Wales. So you can go and get extra skills, extra experiences, all new stuff after hours. We've had chefs who have done gyoza demos, we've done sushi, we've done nasi goreng demos, which is an Indonesian fried rice. What's that? The entire pig. We had our charcuterie club broke down a whole pig the other day, and that was a great demo. Yes? Yes, please. Thank you. So next on to our demo, we're going to hop over to the fish. And so we're going to take this fish. Remember, this is the Acadian red. And before I actually cut it, I'm going to go ahead and score him. Now we put a skewer across here to sort of open up his gills to give him a nice propped open head. And I'm going to lay him sideways and I'm going to score him. So scoring just means I'm going to cut right into the meat here and I'm going to create some slits here. The reason I'm doing this, guys, is to increase the surface area so the oil can permeate the meat a little better and get it a little crispier, and some of that flavor and that oil can get into the fish. Okay? What I love about this dish, and being in Thailand, I've had this. I was in Thailand a year ago, May, and I took my daughter. I've told Joy at least this story a couple times. I took my daughter all over the country. We went to like 5 different cities. My wife's Indonesian, so we travel to Indonesia a lot, and we usually piggyback a second country because when you go, those flights are expensive. But my daughter was almost 2 when we went, and that means free ticket for her. So that's like $2,000 off the price. So we go to Thailand, and we spend a week in Thailand, and we go to 5 different cities. And my daughter, being almost 2, was very particular about what she ate. And so she had pineapple fried rice almost every meal in every city across all of Thailand. I would have to say there's got to be a record that we broke with my daughter eating. In Thailand, they split the pineapple, they hollow it out, and they serve the fried rice in the pineapple. So she just loved it. She'd eat it up, and she'd put the thing on her head. It was pretty exciting. And so she just, I don't know, we've had a lot of variations of pineapple fried rice. But anyway, talking about the fish, one of the best things about frying the fish whole like this is that these fins, when you fry them, these fins actually get crispy. And once this fish is seasoned, you can break them off and eat them like potato chips. And it's pretty, it sounds weird, but try it and you'll be like, oh my gosh, that's delicious. So we always keep those on there. So the fish has been scored. I'm going to dredge it in some flour now. What's dredging, guys? Right, to lightly coat or pack in flour. Very good. Okay, so I'm going to take this fish, going to get them nice and packed. I'm going to get that flour all over them. I'm going to open up those fins. Make sure. Yes, this is seasoned flour, thank you, with salt and pepper. Some people like to put some granulated garlic in there as well. And so I've got that fish nice and ready to go. Could you fire up my wok for me and give me 1 ladle of oil, please?
Why do you dredge the fish?
Oh, that's such a great question. The question was, why do we dredge the fish? So if I just put wet fish in hot oil, it's going to kind of be this mushy, wet thing as it fries. And we're going to lose a lot of moisture from the fish, and it's just not going to be that appealing. But by adding flour, the flour is going to fry, and it's going to sort of fizz out a little bit. If you wanted to, you could add a little baking powder to this, and you'd have more of a fizz, like when you bread or batter a fish. This one's just lightly dredged, and that creates this crispy texture all over the fish. So it helps crispen it up and give us a nice texture. Part of that balance, you're thinking about texture as well when it comes to cuisine. So not just soft, wet noodles and squishy white rice, but also nice, crispy fish, okay? And what's also interesting about this dish is that we're going with this crispy fish, and then we're drowning it in this sauce. So it's crispy and soggy at the same time, which is kind of like a smother fried chicken in America, kind of the same effect. So this fish is nice and floured here. The oil looks nice and hot. I'm going to open him up, and I'm going to set him down in such a way that he is swimming in the oil. There we go, just like that. Very nice. Now, I obviously need to go wash my hands. We stick to our gold standard here at Johnson & Wales, so I need to wash my hands before I touch anything else. Could you ladle the oil over the fish while it fries for me, and just turn the heat down 1 notch? Thank you. I'll be off camera for 1 second. Just washing my hands. What is it, 2 birthday songs, right? Happy birthday. No, it's 10 to 15 seconds regulation. And then 20 seconds total washing experience. What's the temperature of the oil? Is that what you asked? Oh, the water, 100 degrees, as hot as you can stand. She's quizzing me. I just had her in my class, and that was on her quiz. That's kind of funny. Yes?
Am I going to need a basic major to be in the culinary arts program?
Are you going to need a basic major? I think that's a good gym question, so I'll pass this over to you.
So for a basic major, when you enter the College of Culinary Arts, you will either start out in the culinary program or the baking and pastry program. That's how all students come in. There's 2 different tracks that you'll select. From there, once you complete your associate degree in either culinary or baking and pastry, you have the option to select a bachelor degree track and matriculate into the Hospitality College in food service management, food service entrepreneurship, culinary nutrition, or the bachelor's degree in baking and pastry. So you can see there's a lot of variety and flexibilities within your majors, and typically students, we just want to get them started in either culinary or baking and pastry, and our academic and career counselors will work with you to best define which bachelor degree track is the best fit for you.
Wonderful. So I'll take back over here. Am I mic'd up? All right, we're sharing a mic. We're friendly around here. Right? Absolutely. Absolutely. So right now, we're frying the fish. I'm not sure if you can get a good view of this. Khadijah's doing a great job. Looks like we lost an eyeball. We'll have to go get that later. One of the eyeballs fell out. But you can see that we're frying the fish and we're basting it in the hot oil. And so we're crispening the whole thing up, and all the fins are going to get crispy, just like we had talked about. And what's great is when we put this fish together on the plate, it's going to look like it's still swimming when you get it. One great dish that I had in Indonesia, I think the first time I went, which was really interesting was it was a fried whole fish, but it was filleted from the tail up to the head. And so when it was fried, the meat had curled up and it had this huge three-dimensional butterfly look to it. And so it's a pretty impressive way to fry it, but it requires a lot of oil and a very deep wok to be able to do that. How are we looking? Looks nice. You can see the skin sort of peel back on the fish and get crispy, and it's looking really great.
Yeah, what's the cooking time on something like this?
Well, what you're looking for is, rather than time, thank you, you're looking for the tall tale signs that you have a cooked, finished product. So you're looking at the meat of the fish. To tell that it's done, the meat will start to pull back and seize up, and what we have is protein coagulation taking place. So you're going to see little pockets of like white goo coming out of it, where the protein strands are stretching out and recoiling and throwing off water, and that's the little pockets of white, goo that you see. You can also take a temperature, and this fish should be about 145 degrees when it's done. So you could go either way, temperature or texture. If you're filling out books, though, you always go by the code of 145, right? Very good.
Why do you baste it instead of letting it just sit there?
So you see how it's not fully submerged in the oil? If you wanted to do a flatter fish, it would be easier to just lay him down and he would be covered in the oil and you wouldn't need to ladle. But because he's sort of a three-dimensional representation, we're going to have to keep basting him with the hot oil and get all that oil in the nooks and crannies. Mostly what you're looking at here on a fish like this is you're looking in the head and basically all in the head. You want that cooked. So you want to get the oil splashing around that head a lot. Looking pretty good. Turn you up a little bit. Now I can tell just by looking at it, the way the meat is seizing up, that we're getting pretty close. I have a thermometer here, so you'll be able to take a temperature, and we're looking for that 145, okay? When you're ready. There you go. All right, how about any questions? Do we have questions coming around?
What are the different colors in your color?
Oh, that was a good question. So someone asked about the different collars at Johnson & Wales. And so we have quite a group here. So we could start with the freshmen. And should I pass this around and we can talk about the different collars? We'll start with the freshmen here. You want to go around with them?
Sure.
All right. Go ahead. Tell us about your collar and what it represents.
My collar represents that I'm a first-year culinary arts student. That's pretty much it.
My collar represents that I'm a sophomore culinary arts student. It's the light blue collars.
Yeah, same as hers, finishing up my freshman labs.
My color is nutrition, culinary nutrition.
So what year are you?
Junior.
Junior, right. Very good.
I'm a sophomore as well.
Keisha.
You want to step up? I know you're kind of off camera. But you can walk over there.
My collar represents food service management. I am a senior. Usually these collars go to seniors and juniors. The light blue would also just mean nutrition, like our Joy right here.
Which also means you've already completed your associate degree
Yes, I have. I've
in
done
culinary.
in culinary. And then food service management is basically when you want to pursue more of a managerial position in any type of restaurant or go into entrepreneurship or own your own business, as opposed to going into nutrition, in which Joy will explain shortly.
Nutrition, now you can go for clinical side or food science side. I thinking of going to food science, like learning how to make, trying to make new recipes out there, creating new products that might end up going in the grocery shelves someday.
So something like research and development
Yes,
might be your
definitely.
career
Yes,
path.
definitely.
And both of you seem to have the best of both worlds. You have that culinary background, that hands-on experience. You understand food, but you have the business side, which is fantastic. That can take you into a certain career path. You're a nutrition major. All of the different things that you can go into, whether it's research and development, registered dietitian, dietetics. So you can see that we have many different types of career paths for all of our culinary and baking and pastry students. And that's what makes Johnson & Wales a full-fledged university, the different degree programs, the different degree tracks that our students have. All of our students also will complete a full-term internship as well as many times a directed work experience from their chef instructors.
Very good. You want to switch back over here, and we'll plate this thing before we sauce it. We still have to make the sauce for the fish, but we can put them together real quick while we do that. Thank you. Thanks so much. So here's the Acadian red post-fry. So we got this guy standing up here on this nice pile of rice. Now it's important to understand traditional eating habits, and we do teach about food and culture here at the university. And so when he's going to fall, isn't he? He's just, no, he's good. So when you eat in Thailand, traditionally how you would eat is you would eat family style, but you would be served individual portions of rice. And so everyone would get their own rice. It'd be in a pot on the table, but then everything else would be family style. And typically you have more items to eat than people at the table. So you sort of, knit and pick and eat what you'd like and little bits of this and that. And that's the usual traditional way to eat. Now, of course, you have modern representation. You have Western restaurants coming in, but that's how you would eat at home with mom and dad. Okay? So we have our fish here, and you can see he is nicely presented. He's sort of got this dramatic look about him. Now, he's an Acadian red, so do you see the spines and the horns on his face? Were you the one cleaning this? Yes. And he got you, didn't he? Oh, definitely. Yeah, he got a good bite on you. So you got to watch out with some of these fish. The Acadian reds have these really sharp spines. They kind of look like dragon scales on there. So with this fish, now we have the fried salad that we're going to start putting on top. And so this is all those aromatic items that we put on this fish. So we're just going to put them on top, and you can be messy. It's one of those rustic presentations, which we like to use rustic. Rustic has two meanings. One, it's either rustic, or two, it means you messed it up, and you just call it rustic, right? So it's all about how you explain the dish, right? So you can see all the cashews, you can see all the items on here. Could you fire up the wok again, please? We could take out 2 more tablespoons of oil there. We took out most of the oil of the wok, and we're just going to leave 2 tablespoons behind. Here we go. That's good. Do you mind pulling that away? Thank you.
Can you eat the lime leaves, or is that just for like aromatics?
Actually, once they're fried, they are quite edible and yummy, and so pretty good. If you have a really thick stem on one, you might wind up pulling that out. But remember, there's a lot of bones in this fish, so as you're eating, you're pulling things out. One time when I was in Singapore, the first time I went to Singapore, I went to Little India, which is like a town, kind of like Chinatown is in New York or nearby Boston. And so I went to this area, and my wife and I had the curried crab, and it came out on banana leaves, and it was this whole curried crab. They do it in the shell. They just mash the thing up and then cook it all like a curry and then serve it to you like a big spoonful of it on your plate. And so you have to like suck all the meat out of the shells. You're covered in crab when you're done. You have like a lobster bib on and everything. And you just eat this thing up. And so you get used to picking out and pulling out pieces of the food as you eat it. It's really interesting because it's different from French cuisine. He looks like he wants to fall over. You see him moving? It's a little different from French cuisine. Could you glove up, and then you could just fix him real quick, please? It's different from French cuisine because French cuisine, a lot of times, what do? We debone something, we roast the bones, we make a nice stock out of it, use that stock to cook the item once it's meatless. But when you're looking at like Southeast Asian cuisines, and you're looking at cuisines in the Caribbean, a lot of times you just leave the bones in, right? And then what do? You just, suck the marrow and the meat out, and then you just throw the bones in a pile as you eat. You know what I mean? Thank you. He's just repositioning that fish so it doesn't fall on us. He's trying to be a dramatic fish. Yes? What's that?
The bacon and pastry for students, knowing that there's a bacon and pastry program.
Yeah.
As well as culinary.
Well, I think it's interesting that you're from the baking and pastry program and you're here in the club. So we're not just limiting to, this fish is still swimming. You got him? All right, I'll give you a spoon here. You got it? There you go. All right. So with baking and pastry, I'd like to talk about your experience because you've been in culinary and baking and pastry, right?
I have.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay.
And in the meantime, I'll fire the sauce ingredients.
We got to turn the fire down a little bit.
I got it.
So, hi, I'm Khadija Muhammad, and I actually am receiving 3 degrees from Johnson & Wales University. I'll be graduating this year, which is our centennial year, which means we've been around for 100 years. So I'm really proud of that. I started off originally in the baking and pastry program. It was definitely a challenge for me because I've been cooking more of my life, and cooking makes me happy. So, and you can be like a free spirit, but with baking and pastry, it's a little bit more of a science. So I had to kind of tame my free spirit behavior to learn the basics and understand the knowledge, and then obviously you can blossom and bloom within the program, which was a really wonderful program that I enjoy. And then I switched over to Culinary. I am culinary, and I will be graduating with my culinary degree. And there's so many classes that we take. I enjoy it very much so. I love coming to Johnson & Wales. It's definitely a choice that I made that I'm very proud of and happy that I made the decision to attend the university. And when I graduate this year and walk across the stage, I will say that I can't let it go in this sense. Like, I've done the culinary arts program as well as the baking and pastry program and then the business management program. I'm going to be getting my bachelor's degree in business management. So that's the university.
I'm going to miss you.
I'm going to miss you too. I love it here. I love all my chefs.
Very good.
We do have one question.
Sure.
If somebody has an allergy to garlic, are there substitutes you can use?
Yes. When it comes to garlic, if you can't actually eat garlic, then one way you could substitute it is using things in the same family. If you're able to eat things like shallots, or you can sort of gravitate towards things like onions, shallots, leeks, and things like that. Other pungent things in the same family, and you could use them instead of garlic, and they have a nice. They still have some of the same effect.
Chef, maybe can you pick up on that and talk about our technical standards? We see a lot of different allergies today to a lot of different food products. There is an expectation that our students do taste within reason and touch certain foods.
Right. So.
We do have technical standards.
Yes, at the university, a lot of our standards, they have to do with, first of all, the most important thing is safety for the student. And so if a student does have allergies, then it is treated as though they are able to disclose that if they would like. And the best way to protect themselves, I would recommend, is disclosing that right away. So within reason, we can accommodate. And we do have procedures and a center in place for that. So students with allergies can certainly attend the university, and then when you declare them, you have an opportunity to protect yourself and still get the great education that you came here for. All right, one thing about the demo, we kind of put the sauce ingredients together. So we did the shallot and the garlic, the second helping here. We sauteed those, or stir-fried those. And then we added our tamarind puree, which was basically those tamarind pods and mashed up and cooked with a little bit of water. And then that puree went in to deglaze the pan, right? What are we lifting off of the bottom? The fond, F-O-N-D, not the fonds, but the fond, right? And so we're lifting that off of the bottom of the pan, getting that flavor in there, and then we're adding the fish sauce for salt, and then I have a little water if I need to thin it out, but it actually worked out pretty well, so we're good to go. I'm going to put this on here. Now, does anyone know what the name of this dish is in Thai? It's a hard one. Do you know it? You're not sure? Pla, rad, prik. So everyone say it. Pla, rad, prik. What'd you call me? I'm just joking with you. So this wok is ready to go. This sauce is ready to go. So we just have to ladle it on this tasty, tasty fish. Okay, so we're going to slide this on over. Hopefully he's done swimming on us, right? And so we're just going to take the sauce, and when you guys do this yourselves, you're going to pour the sauce over the top, and you see how it sort of settles down, and then you go around the plate. And so when you go to eat this, say you're eating this in a restaurant, you're serving this like family style in a restaurant, which would be super impressive, right? And in Thailand, this is like what you would eat. This is what you order in the restaurant, and it doesn't even cost that much. It's Thailand. They have lots of fish and seafood, right? So when you get this thing, you just share it together. You know what I mean? You all get a fork in there, and you pull it apart, and you have your own plate, but you just scoop off bits and pieces and put them on your plate. Okay? Any questions on this? Pretty tasty dish.
We
All right.
have one question, and if you don't mind repeating it.
Sure.
What study abroad opportunities are there?
Wow, study abroad opportunities. That's pretty exciting. I know of a handful of them, and I think Jim knows some more, but we have programs in Thailand, Italy. What are the other ones in Europe? And these are, I'm sorry, we're talking about study abroad programs. Someone had asked, what are some great study abroad programs? France, Italy, Sweden, where else? Ireland, Singapore, Peru, and my friend Chef Molinelli, who is from Peru, often takes the students down there. So, when you're going down to these countries and you're doing these study abroad programs, you're going with experienced chef instructors who know what they're doing and what they're talking about. When we go to the wine countries and when students take wine concentrations to become sommeliers, then they go with a wine expert, and they wind up going to these countries with them. And of course, speaking the language, drinking the wine, learning, and what an incredible experience, right? Now, I've I didn't tell you guys how I started cooking Southeast Asian cuisine. It's sort of an interesting story. Years ago, I worked at the Mandarin Oriental in Geneva, Switzerland. And so the Mandarin Oriental is sort of this Asian-themed hotel group that's all around the world. And so I was working in there, and it's in Geneva, Switzerland. It's right on the border of France. And most of my coworkers in the kitchen were French. And so all these guys were French, and I was the only American there. And so a lot of times they'd come up to me, and they'd have me come help in the Thai station. And so by default, because I was American, I was qualified to cook Thai food. And I'm not sure how that happened, but one day I'm cooking lunch, and someone comes up to me, and he goes, well, where's the butter? What do you put the roux? And I was like, oh, well, that's why. Because, you know, it's sort of a different animal entirely. Thai food versus French food, and classical versus when you're doing it over here in the West, then it's much more updated. You know what I mean? And so it's pretty interesting. But that's where I started cooking Thai food. And then, like I said, my wife is Indonesian, so now I cook at home all the time. And I try to keep, you know, my daughter's half Asian, so I try to keep a lot of Asian cuisine and culture in my house. And that's why I wanted to be the advisor to the Cooking Asia Club, because that's close to my heart and my home. So that's really fun for me and exciting. How about you guys? Anyone? Well, you're all here. You're interested in Cooking Asia. Would anyone like to tell us why they're in this club?
I like the competition.
Oh, the competition. Who would like to tell us about the competition?
Joy would.
Oh, Joy would? Joy, tell us about the Cooking Asia competition. We do 4 times a year.
The Cooking Asia Club Mystery Basket competition is dear to my heart because I started that competition 3 years ago. So every term we do one competition, and we take 6 teams of 2 or 1. They compete pretty much. It's like Iron Chef chop style. So pretty much they bring their A game on, and we have judges come in. They check out their food, and we take the first and second place winners, and they will advance to the final round in spring, which we're still gonna get 6 teams, and they still compete for pretty much the bragging rights. So yeah.
And we stream that live on the internet?
And yes, we stream it live online on ustream.com. You can click on Cooking Asia Club, and it'll be under Mystery Basket competition. So we have it every.
What's our Facebook page?
Our Facebook page is Cooking Asia JW Providence.
Very good. Great plug there, right?
Yeah.
Very good.
And we have our email as well. You can go into cookingasia at gmail.com.
At gmail.com.
Email.
All right. Very good. I happen to know, because I do these competitions with you guys, I help facilitate them, and the students do a magnificent job setting them up. But we do have chef instructors judge them. We also bring chefs from industry. We've had Jackie from Jackie's Galaxy. We've had Kazoo from Abisu. This is a local Providence Japanese restaurant. And we've had our own chef instructors, and chef instructors who coach our ACF culinary team. And so a lot of times our little competitions that we do, which are streamed, we stream them through Ustream all over. A lot of times those are a great way for students who are interested in competition to start getting their feet wet, and then to jump into our ACF regional team, which we've gone to nationals before. I think it was last year, right? And so we're well known, and we have a great history for competition as well. So that's pretty exciting stuff. So any questions before we start cooking? Sure.
As a freshman and as you continue, what will you learn in both programs? I'll just repeat it.
In which programs?
Both programs.
Okay, so as a freshman and as you continue on, what will you learn in both programs? So are we talking pastry? Okay, and culinary. So I'd love to have a student answer that. Let's see, let's find an upperclassman. I'll find a nutrition student first. We'll talk about that, and then we'll talk pastry as well, okay? Oh, you're baking as well?
I did baking, and I'm in culinary currently.
Oh, so you're ready to answer all those questions. All right, go ahead.
Okay. In pastry, I did petit gâteaux, cookies and petit fours, advanced cakes, breads, viennoiserie. Oh, what else?
Basic
There's so
skills.
many. Basic skills. Advanced cakes, wedding cakes. Sugar artistry, chocolates. And so far in culinary, what else? Oh, yeah. And in culinary so far, I've done fundamentals, beverage, that was a fun one. What else? Dining room. There's international, sort of like this. World? Traditional, European, New World. There's garde manger. There's so many. And I haven't started nutrition yet, but I'm really excited. They have like healthy dessert options for my pastry background, and then they have spa cuisine and vegetarian cuisine. So it'll be exciting.
Very good.
Okay.
Excellent. All right. Who would like to talk about culinary programs? Oh, we have an FSM major here, so come on over. Here you go. Tell us about the culinary program.
Well, as a freshman, you start off, as she said, with fundamentals, meat cutting, and all the basic needs that you need to start off on your first year. You got your hot labs and your cold labs, which are separate. Garde manger would be in your cold labs. You do pâtés, and basically you cook everything and you cool it down so it can be eaten later on in a buffet. So it's a little harder than all your other classes, but it's very fun, especially if you have Chef Oxtolis. Hint, hint.
That was a plug. Yeah, all right. Excellent.
As you go on, during your sophomore year, you do a little more advanced things as opposed to your freshman year where you have international, you'll have New World.
Introduction cooking, basically.
Yes, and you also have some baking and pastry in there, so you get a little feel of both things. You have your first introduction to baking pastry, then you have your advanced baking and pastry. You also have your front of the house classes like dining room and beverage, so you have a feel of the whole industry in itself. As you go through sophomore year, you get to choose. You get to choose between what bachelor's you'd like to do, whether it's nutrition, if you want that side, or business with food service management.
Very good. All right. I'd also like to plug my program. I teach in the Wellness Sustainability program, which none of you guys are a student of, but some of the club members are. And so that's one of our newest programs here at the university. And it's great because we use locally sourced products that are in season. We create chef tables. This is an advanced culinary lab, and the classes are plant-based cuisine, farm-to-table desserts, and then conscious cuisine, where you learn snout-to-tail cookery, charcuterie, things like that at an advanced level. And then it's all about farm-to-table presentations. We actually do chef tables in the kitchen. We invite celebrity chefs and local chefs around the area, and we bring them in to judge your food, and that's part of your grade and part of a great outcome for wellness sustainability. With that, there's an academic as well, where we tour farms and we learn about like aquaculture and shell fishing and things like that. Great concentration. I am reaching out to all you freshmen, sophomores that are interested in declaring FSM. Then you can take that as your concentration. We take nutrition students as well, so very good. Are you guys ready to cook? All right, so let's get to cooking these fish. If you want to go to your stations, then you can start prepping up, and then I'll come around and check with you. Jim's going to take the microphone from me, and he's going to field questions that come in from our audience around. And then you guys will also have a chance to properly introduce yourselves if you haven't yet, and to talk about what your interests are and to answer their questions. Are you ready to go? Yes, sir. All right, let's do it. Guys, here's the garnish for your fish. You're going to just have some of these nice scallions on here. You're going to have some nice bits of cilantro. You can just put the whole sprig on there too.
Okay. One question that just came in was, do we offer any programs in set design or theater in those areas? We do have a School of Arts and Sciences, and within the Arts and Sciences, we have a few programs, but none actually specialize or major in theater. We do work with a little bit of multimedia within our School of Technology. We have a media and communications program. We actually have a theater club on campus, but we do not have or offer theater or set design as an actual major. Many of our students, we have an amphitheater where we do live tapings for some cooking shows, and our students are involved in the setup there. But if you're really looking to major in theater or set design, we don't have a specific major in that particular area.
What are the next steps if you're interested in the program?
Yeah. The question was, what are the next steps if you're interested in the program, which is a great question. You really need to fill out our free application for admissions, and that's a great opportunity for the students out there. We don't charge our students to apply to the university. If we offer a major that you're interested in, fill out the free application for admissions, send your high school transcripts. If you're a transfer student from another college, send your college transcripts and we can review those for transfer credit. Once we've received your application and your transcripts, the admissions committee can look at that for an admissions decision. We have admissions decisions within 4 to 6 weeks of receiving both the application and transcripts. And traditionally, our students enroll in September, but we have 3 11-week terms at the university. So we do have a winter term that starts at the beginning of September. We offer a spring term that starts at the beginning of March. So 3 11-week terms with a traditional summer schedule. So you're still off for the summer, May through August, just like the rest of your friends at any other college or university. So that would be the first step. Apply to the university, send your transcripts, get an admissions decision.
Are there opportunities to visit the campus?
Yes, the question was, are there opportunities to visit the campus? We have many different types of opportunities to visit all of our campuses. As I opened up, you're here today at the Providence, Rhode Island campus, but we have regional campuses in Charlotte, North Carolina, North Miami, Florida, and Denver, Colorado. All of our campuses offer daily tours Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. So if you live in a close proximity to campus, you may want to come in on a daily tour. If you live a little bit further from our campus, maybe a preview is what you're looking for. Those are held once a month on Saturdays. They are a full campus tour. Admissions, faculty, student academic and financial services will be there. Residential life, clubs and organizations. So you can really get a lot of questions answered through our preview days. And then lastly, we offer things called Wildcat Weekends. And this gives our families an opportunity, especially moving into the spring for our accepted students. It gives them the opportunity to either drive in or fly into the campus and spend a weekend with us. And they get more ingrained in the culture of Johnson & Wales. Who we are, what do we do? You'll get to have dinner with our faculty and ask really specific questions. You'll get to learn more about admissions and what it's like to live on campus. So a lot of great opportunities through the Wildcat Weekend program as well. So the question was, once you enter into either program, culinary or bacon and pastry, is there a chef to help you out? Actually, you're assigned 3 advisors at the university. So you receive a career coach, an academic advisor, somebody from experiential education and career services that will work with you to determine your career path, or your internship path. So from day one, our faculty instructors and experiential education and career service advisors are working with you from your freshman year through your senior year to make sure that you receive the proper internship that's going to help support you, build your resume, develop your networking skills so that you are positioned in your senior year for those industry opportunities upon graduation. And again, that starts in your very first year by us introducing you to industry professionals. We bring hundreds of companies on campus starting in your freshman year, and you will go and meet with a lot of these prospective employers to better understand what it is you need to do over the next 4 years to hopefully be employed by them when it comes time for graduation. So what does it take to be an ideal chef or an ideal student at Johnson & Wales University? I would say that it takes drive, passion, enthusiasm, the desire to learn, work ethic. Those are all those intangible things that sometimes you can't teach. We see some very skilled students out there, but sometimes they lack that passion or desire. So if I was to leave you with any advice, it would be come in open-minded, be receptive to ideas, work very hard, get involved in clubs and organizations, and increase your networking opportunity.
Can you talk a little bit more about the study abroad opportunities and what they can do when they study abroad?
So the study abroad, there's so many different types of study abroads at Johnson & Wales. We run short 3 to 4 week study abroad programs up to 4 to 5 month study abroad programs. It really depends on the experience that you're looking for, which country you may want to go to. It also depends on which major you are in at the university. Now remember, we have 44 different majors at Johnson & Wales, and students will do many different types of study abroad programs, but it really comes down to you and what type of experience that you're looking for. Many times the study abroad could be included in your tuition. Maybe you would have to pay your transportation to and from that country and some miscellaneous expenses, but there's a lot of great opportunities. It's really hard to really delve deep into all the different types of study abroad programs that we have at the university in a short segment like this, but I would strongly encourage you to contact our admissions office, and you can do that at 800-342-5598. You can ask to speak with an admissions officer, schedule a daily tour or a preview day, come to one of our Wildcat weekends, and this will allow us to sit down with you one-on-one to better assist you, counsel you, and answer those questions.
One more question. How much choice will I have in selecting some of my own courses?
How much choice will you have in selecting your own courses? Really depends on the program that you select at Johnson & Wales. Many of our majors and our curriculum is really set for you. We do have some flexibility within the arts and science area, and many of you, we didn't get a chance to talk, don't realize that you still will take English and math and science while you're here at the university, and that's to develop your critical thinking skills, the analytical skills, and problem solving skills. But the flexibility you would have would be in your junior or senior year if you came out of culinary or baking and pastry, where we offer many different concentrations. So you may go into food service management and decide to get a concentration in entertainment management or beverage management. Maybe it's in wellness and sustainability. Maybe it's in food writing. So there's many different ways to tailor your degree within your junior and senior year. But for your freshman and sophomore year in culinary and baking and pastry, the curriculum is exactly what it is. You have to take all of the courses that are provided to you. Will you learn new forms of cooking and new types of food? I think I would like to have Chef Lewis answer that question. So let me see if I can sneak back and maybe pull him aside and say, Chef Lewis, will you learn new techniques and new types of foods when you come to Johnson & Wales? I'm sure some of the students come from VOTEC or BOCES schools, and they have a certain background and knowledge. But what else are they going to learn here? Are they going to be exposed to new food here?
Oh, certainly.
New techniques?
Well, certainly. And in our wellness sustainability concentration, we have a lot of what we consider, a lot of people coin it modernist, and but we call them modern techniques. So we use new equipment. So once the students go through their freshman, sophomore year and they learn their basics of culinary and they get the international experience and they get the restaurant experience, then the students in their junior, senior year use a lot of advanced equipment. We have centrifuges which spin things around at 30,000 times Earth's gravity.
Wow.
And so what that does is it separates purees. So you wind up with, like, if it's pea puree, it'll turn into like pea butter. You'll have a fructose layer. You'll have all this pulp layer, and you can scoop off just pure pea butter right off of this.
So that's kind of pulling the science into
Oh
food.
yeah, when we start getting the students at that level, we can start teaching about science of things. The rotostate homogenizer, we'll pull that out. We use all kinds of things like circulated immersion circulators and sous vide cooking. All this stuff is part of the norm now, and so we teach this stuff. We'll teach you how to create aerated things. I did that thing on Bizarre Foods where we did the aerated monkfish liver mousse, and so we use the cryovac machine to pull a vacuum in a mason jar and expand this mousse, and then it locks into place using different hydrocolloids. We use gelatin, we use a little bit of agar-agar in that, and some xanthan gum for the sauce work later.
Great.
So there's a lot of really interesting and exciting items that we do at that level, and the students bring them in, and we do some really crazy stuff. It's pretty fun.
Great. Okay.
Oh, you want to wrap it up?
So,
Well,
it sounds like we are running out of time. I really want to thank all of you that have logged in today, checked out Johnson & Wales. A lot of great questions today. Again, I want to encourage you to come and visit the university. Start your application process now. Again, it's free to apply to the university. Send your transcripts. That will allow us to get the process started. I want to thank all of the great students in the room today. The Cooking with Asia Club, thank you for coming into, allowing us to come into your class. And
see you in the fall.
thank you.